in to Athletics LLC with Lamar, Lucius, Big League Chew, and my man Clyde, and the governor. You're about to be schooled in all things track and field. This is experience. Yes, sir. We are talking past, present, future. Y'all listen up. Let's go.
Welcome to another fun episode. See, I hit record and then something happens in between that lag, and then I unseemingly am laughing at myself.
Yeah, well, I don't know why the record button makes you giggle, too. It's very
and
odd.
it's every time.
It's because
no, it's not.
he knows what's coming.
Well,
See,
that
the pre-show, she absorbs it all, right? She's taking it all in. She hits the button, and it's like, uh-oh, here we go.
Well, and then ultimately, one of you makes a face. And I don't know if you guys even realize it, but one of you makes a face in that part when she goes, so-and-so is now recording. and it makes me laugh every single time, 3 years later.
And it will remain a mystery?
I guess I'll have to go back and watch the intro to see if it gets recorded or not.
Right.
I've never paid attention. So anyhow, Athletics LLC, that's what we're doing. If you didn't know, you should probably hit stop and find another video now. But if not, stick around a while. You might learn something or two. But let's introduce the tiles and get to some talking. Clyde in sunny California. I'm still a little mad about that right now. How are you today, sir?
Yeah, the West Coast is the best coast. We're good out here.
Oh,
Happy New Year in advance to all.
Yeah, how was Christmas?
Christmas was chill. I sat around and watched Kai be a terrorist around the house, and definitely tanked the white elephant, which is exactly what you are meant to do. In case y'all didn't know, the goal of White Elephant is to provide the worst gift possible and see who gets stuck with it.
Facts.
Some people don't play the game that way, but I most definitely do. So somebody had to walk away with a stack of picky bars.
That's hilarious. I was waiting to hear that you gifted somebody Kai's diaper used.
That would have been even better.
I
don't think anybody would let me get away with that. But
we had a white elephant with my group one time when I was at Purdue, and one of the kids who's kind of country bought some deer feed in like a 20-pound bag. So it was like in this big box, and everybody was super kind of coveting, and it ended up being some deer feed.
That's horrible.
Yep.
Good old Indiana.
Well played.
Yeah. Lamar, how are you tonight?
As you can tell, I've chosen violence for tonight's show, and I'm pleased about it. I feel very good. Today's has been a very good day, and I'm going to end it very well. I'm also going to let the entire world know that the slogan for myself and my group this year coming up is Own 23.
Got it. Governor, I almost can't see you with your camo sweatshirt on. A bodiless head. I'm just kidding.
It is all camo today. All camo. So I'm halfway through the gauntlet of death.
I was gonna ask. I actually
Yeah.
text you about that today, and I was like, I'd say before the show.
I've gotten through 3 of the
4 major events.
3 of the 6 sins.
Oh, 6.
No, so
But you can't call them sins.
I mean, you can, because I can tell you,
fingers of death. I don't know, whatever.
I feel like he does from January 12th to like February 17th.
Yeah. So Danae's birthday was yesterday, and she gave it a 9 out of 10.
Oh, nice.
So, good job, parents.
We did the movie experience. We had about, I think, 12 or 13 of her friends. Went to watch Avatar, and I played the gopher, going back and forth getting popcorn and wings and all that stuff. And then, you know, it was good. We did laser tag and all of that. So it was a good day. She was very happy. And yeah, and all of that goodwill lasted one day. So now we're back.
And now teenagers are back.
No,
Nice.
I'm just dad, you know.
Nice.
Oh, goodness. Sir Lucius, how are you going to top this off?
I'm not going to try. I mean, my Christmas was phenomenal. You know, always the best parts of grandkids, right? But it was good. And it's actually acting like it's Florida again. It was 67 today. It's going to be 76 tomorrow. So yeah, like that 21 at night wasn't sitting too well with us around.
We had seen a gator in transit, and I giggled because they said too, yeah, like this isn't Florida weather
Yeah,
here in Texas.
exactly.
So
Right, yeah.
they were definitely ready to go back.
Yeah, I'm out.
Right. Anyhow, well, welcome back to the Tiles. Thanks for joining us. Let's jump in the deep end. So there's these things. They were put out on the internet. They're called the Olympic standards. And with them is coupling some qualifying procedures to get into those games coming up. You know, 2024 is going to be here before we know it. There's some theories as to why they were set, or we're going to call them fictitious. Oh, I don't want to call them fictitious. Some theories of why they are being set the way they are, both on the pro level and then coaching, and then just the novice people have opinions this time around too. So what are your all's opinions about the standards and the procedures that have been set forth for 24?
Can I just say that for me, this is a two completely separate piece of conversation. The standards are the standards. And the only thing I have to say about the standards is stop whining. No one who is trying to get a medal looks at those standards and has anything to say. Okay? The Olympic standards are supposed to be high. They are high. Stop whining. Get over it. It's not a tourist visa. You're not there to kick it. Figure it out. Now the world rankings procedure, we've cut that to pieces many times, and I do not enjoy the way that whole smorgasbord of shenanigans operates. But there's nothing wrong with the standards. I just don't get what everybody's whining about.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same thing. Like, I'm not sure what the complaint is. We know if we want people to take our sport more seriously, then we have to elevate our game. And if elevating our game means elevating the standards, that's what we have to do. I'm not sure why people are all up in arms. Wasn't this qualifying system in place for the last Olympics and the last World Championships? And the people that are supposed to get there, right? Like, nothing's changed. I know the standards got tougher, but like the people that are supposed to get there will be there. And I'm not sure what the uproar is, because I think I'm gonna play EP here for a second, but isn't this an attempt to make people do more Diamond League stuff or qualifying meet stuff during the Olympic and World Championship years?
Yes.
Is that what this is about? Okay. I thought that's what you said to me before, but I wasn't sure how to solve this. Maybe you can delve into that, but like, at the end of the day, the standards are what they are. And, I know I am old enough, being the oldest person on the Tiles, I'll say that so you guys don't have to, that every time the standards gets changed, it's like, I remember when the standard was 1024. Oh my God, that's so fast, and then it was 10-1. Oh my God, that's so fast. Like, aren't there like 8 guys in the United States that run sub 990? Yeah, we'll be okay. Okay. And there's one warming up someplace right now. He's coming.
So what this all boils down to, and what I think people need to understand, is that 2-3 Olympiads ago, they started to realize that there were too many people at the Olympics. Okay. And they thought of ways, and this is not just track, but all federations, all governing bodies had to figure out how we're going to cut down on the cost of hosting these games. We're now at a point in our lives where hosting an Olympic Games can literally cripple a country. Like people don't want to discuss, what happened in Athens and all of that, but believe me,
Or Brazil.
It is an incredible feat to host an Olympic Games. So what have they done for track? Well, track has now been given 905 slots for men and 905 slots for women. Okay, that is for all sports. That is the sport of track and field. 1,810 athletes will be there for track and field. Okay, so in order to do this, you have to raise the standards, right? And you have to figure out, okay, where's the ceiling? Who are the athletes? And then you have to figure out the amount of people per event, right? And this is what's already being done in the NCAA, right?
That's exactly what it is.
12 go from the west, 12 go from the east. You line up, we get after it. Fields of 24. It's a beautiful thing. The meet's over in 4 days, and you get 3 to 4 hours of nonstop action. Well, this is the bigger version, and as far as the quality of the field, one thing that will be guaranteed is that we are going to see the very best of the best, which is what the Olympics are all about. This comes around every 4 years, and it's not something that's a free-for-all. We've gotten to a point now where careers are built on the Olympics, right? And people's careers flourish, because of the Olympics. So, if you can get past the initial shock, get over it. Get over the initial shock of the qualifying standards. The bottom line is this: if you are in that 34, congratulations. You're 32, sorry. You feel a 32 based on what events you're in, then congratulations, you're an Olympian. But the whole idea of just going just to go, I think we're well past that now.
That was perfect. I'll say this. Listen, I only have 3 questions, whatever, about the standards. How, in a world of human advancement, can the standard be slower in 2024 for the 400 than it was in 2021? It's the only standard that's slower. So that's just weird and some sort of statistical anomaly. I like, literally, it's like one of those ask the Dalai Lama questions. Like, I don't really care, but it's interesting. 2, why are there only 24 decathletes and 32 of everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
And I know why. The answer is because it's one less heat in the 100, the hurdles, and the 400, and that's the worst possible reason. But I know that that's the reason.
Mm-hmm.
I might have a better reason for you, but go ahead.
There's not a better reason. But anyway, I definitely want to hear this. But 3, I find it interesting that people are concerned with the standards when literally no medalist has ever been concerned with a standard in their lives, right? Mm-hmm. But nobody is concerned. Nobody is talking about. I think the governor said this like 3 weeks ago. How do you get there?
Yeah.
Right. The standards are now made public, but how can you get there is not. Mm-hmm. We all know. The 5 of us know exactly, like, we all coach someones that we're planning on having be part of the Olympic movement. And we all understand our plights to get them there. I coach several people, Coach Chu, so we coach several people that are probably going to have to get there differently. Mm-hmm. And we got those plans set out. But at the end of the day, like, it's always funny to me when people get all rabble-roused and upset about the jingling keys portion. It's like a magic trick. Everybody's looking over here, man. The trick's over here, right? Like the standards, the fact that there are only 9 decathletes in the entire world that have the standard, like, yeah, that's cute. It's not even news.
You know what the best example of that is, Lamar? When you look at the field at the Grand Prix final every year,
Yeah.
and you're looking at this and you're going, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Because,
How?
because listen,
How did athlete A do
yep,
that?
there's those who get it and there's those who don't, right? So the question is, listen, the 9 decathletes that have the standard, right? They're not concerned. They have a single peak season. It is what it is. The real question should be, how are the other 15 slots going to get filled? And if I'm an athlete, how am I going to get one of those?
Yes.
What are the other automatic ways to get there? How can I qualify for those? Right? Like, but nobody's talking about that. And that's why I always laugh about this stuff, is just because it's like we have $1 million questions and $1 million conversations about, $60,000 problems. Right? But we never have real conversations about the real things, like who created the ranking system? Why is it your best 2 marks and not your best 5? Right? Like, why are some area championships automatic qualifiers to world championships and some are not? Like, those are real questions. But nobody ever asks those questions except us. Like, we have these conversations amongst ourselves. We occasionally have these conversations, from time to time, kind of offhandedly on the show. But it's wild to me that real people whose lives are really being affected by this are not asking those questions.
Well, that's the point, right? It's not even about, the fans, whoever, that don't ask those questions. The freaking athletes don't ask those questions.
The athletes don't ask those questions.
And what's worse is their agents may not explain it to them.
It's absolutely,
or they may not know themselves.
Oh, now that's just malpractice, right? But yes, touche. Like, that's the problem.
Like, I think the fact that I just said very glibly, your world ranking is based on your best 2 marks, your best 2 performances, like your greatest 2 value. I think that's shocking news to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And for the record, he's talking about the multis, because in the individual events, that's not the case. But
no, it's not 2, but it's
5.
It's still a number. It's 5.
Yeah.
But the point is, the fact that there is a number, I think, is unknown to a great number of athletes, and unfortunately not explained by a great number of agents. They all know. The agents all know, but I don't think that they explain that to a great number of their people either.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I'll just put it like this. We were all at World Championships this past year in Eugene. I had 2 separate conversations with one person who was an NCAA athlete turning pro, and another, what I would call, rookie, who's already pro. And both of them thought that their world ranking were a descending order list based on best performance. And I'm like,
it couldn't be further from the truth.
I'm like, you cannot afford to be that level of ignorant moving forward. How do you not know this? Why do you not know this? Why has no one explained this to you? I'm just here. Like, why are you and I having this conversation? I shouldn't be the one delivering this to you. You know what I mean? And it's crazy.
Like, what percentage of athletes in the United States do you think know that 99% of the collegiate meets that will occur this year are not meets that they can qualify for world championships?
100% now. Hopefully.
No, because it's not 100%, because the SEC championship, like the
No,
NCAA
100%
championship.
people will know now.
Well, no,
their
because
coaches.
they don't all
Now
watch
that,
the show.
now that you said it, Lamar, that's what she's
You put
referring
it in the ether.
Oh, I understand.
And now their coaches, someone's going to tweet it. Someone will clip this and put it out. Maybe I'll do it for them.
I mean, I hope so, right? But then that's okay. But okay, am I the only one that says to themselves, it's about to be January? Like, not trying to be funny. What can you do about it now?
Yeah.
If you haven't, if you have not planned for this, what can you do about it now?
Pray.
All these people who are like, well, I'm not going to do an indoor season because, blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, that's fine. just understand that there are indoor meets that actually would count on your outdoor world ranking, as crazy as that is.
Even at distances that don't exist outdoors.
Right. Even in
Mhm.
distances that don't exist outdoors. Right. And again, I'm not saying you need to do indoors. I'm just saying you need to know all of the parameters as to how you're going to get to worlds if them standards are something you're concerned with.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well,
Because the top 10 in the world, I mean, the deck's only 9, but the top 10 in the world in every other event are currently qualified for world championships.
Yeah.
They don't care what the standard
Right.
is.
The movers and,
And
the
so-
shakers.
Yeah. And so this is where, you know, I've listened to the words that have been said online, I've read them, what have you, and for who all these people who are having commentary about it, there are days that people are screaming at the top of their lungs, like football, basketball, baseball, it takes the top 1% or whatever decimal you want to give it to be a professional and make it to that level, right? And then track and field is just as elite as football, basketball, baseball, whatever sport you want to put into that underscored line. And then you do something like this, having the qualifying standards or the procedures or having the Olympic standards, I'm sorry. And now how are we supposed to qualify? You can't have both sides.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, if we want to be professional, if we want to be elite, that's what it is. I think some of this stems from us being a quote unquote no cut sport early on. And so then when you start to have these cuts, people are like, but I was supposed to be able to play it this whole entire time regardless.
Yeah. it's
No,
true.
it doesn't. So, I mean, I think for those of you who are not in agreement or feel some type of way, you got to find a way. And there literally is no one to call. There's no hotline. There's no helpline. There's no nada. Not Sir Lucius, not no one can go to whoever and say, well, can we get this one entry in? Like,
Yeah,
it
so-
doesn't work that way.
So speaking of that, Drew, like, so I just happened upon this website. I don't even know what it is, but it has every single date that applies to said track and field athlete in terms of when the qualification period begins, all of that stuff, right? So they've got 30th of June, 2024, end of qualification. 2nd of July, they confirmed the list. Okay, they confirmed the list of approved unqualified athletes, and they confirmed the list of athletes qualified by entry standard, right? And then they publish the World Athletics World Rankings and qualified athletes. But here's where it's interesting. So July 4th is a deadline to decline a quota placed for all events. Okay, July 5th and 6th, World Athletics to reallocate unused quota spaces in all events except the marathon.
That's right.
So
understand what that means. That's the D2 trick.
That's
Yeah, I was just gonna say
the-
that's what we used to do.
That's the
If you don't declare,
you
it's
see
you're
what's
going down.
24, but certain events are gonna have 40.
exactly.
Mhm.
You see,
Yeah.
like it's man, listen, but it's important to know these things beforehand. It's no longer just, well, you know, I'm just gonna go run a couple races and see what happens. No.
Mm-mm.
This is actually going to be part of your repertoire, how to qualify for the Olympics, right?
Chestnut checkers.
Exactly.
And
So-
lastly, before we move on, just to drive this point home, the governor said this 3 weeks ago. Who you choose as your agent is now going to be one of the most important decisions
Yes.
in your entire career.
Yep.
Just the way they wanted it set up.
Listen, hey, they're unionized. They get it.
Yes, exactly.
Hint, hint, athletes.
Wow. Hopefully somebody heard that.
Mm.
Moving on, All are the all pro players who are being hired at the HBCU level in football jumping the line?
Oh, I know y'all don't think I'm going
I was going to
first.
say now
Go ahead.
You know
everyone's
what?
quiet. The text
You know what?
messages were fired
I
up
will fall on the
yesterday.
sword and go first.
No
Fall on the
child.
sword, just speak up.
I will say this. In the adult world, I don't think there's any such thing as jumping the line. I believe that the goalposts and the requirements are never the same for every applicant by any means for any job, especially any job in athletics. We've discussed the fact that from time to time, the goalposts are different based on your skin color and your ethnicity. From time to time, the goalposts are different based on your professional impact. Sometimes that like the requirements are different based on your stature in the sport, so to speak, or your perceived stature in the sport, because it could actually just be that. But I'll say this. I think to say that like an Ed Reed or a Deion Sanders, who have had short resumes prior to their head coaching appointments, to refer to those hires as jumping the line, I think, just me, a world according to me, I think is erroneous and egregious. And I say that because that completely devalues their experience in the industry that is incalculable. The lessons that can be learned from someone like Deion Sanders or someone like Ed Reed may not actually be quantifiable. The impact of an HBCU hiring someone that famous is incalculable. We talked about one time on this show, like basically if Deion's hire and then departure was going to change things in the HBCU world. Well, here's the answer, right? Because prior to Deion, I don't think Ed Reed would have considered taking this job. But someone took the job and showed that it has a success. It also has a shelf life. Let's be clear. It also has a shelf life, right? If anybody thinks Ed Reed's going to be coaching the HBCU for the next decade, they've lost their minds, because that's not going to happen. But I don't think that it's jumping the line. Look, some people's path is to grind it out and be a 12-year, 14-year assistant before they get their shot. Some people's path is that they get a shot really early in their careers. Each one of those candidates can be right, and each one of those candidates can be woefully wrong. And I think we've seen examples on both sides of that coin. So I'll just say this. I don't think it's a matter of right or wrong. I think it's a matter of preference based on who is doing the hiring. The fact that Ed Reed was hired by an all-pro NBA star, who is the athletic director of that institution, I think is not lost on me. I think that's to some degree a model that school is trying to use. But I personally don't believe that there is a line jumping situation here.
Next.
I took my notes. I'm waiting for others.
So in researching this, trying to find an apt response to this, I have found that there are, 3, 5, 7, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there are 18 there are currently 18 former professional football and basketball Hall of Famers, all pros, you name it, that are currently hired, men and women, by HBCUs. Okay. And
were the majority of those hired after Deion Sanders?
No, they were not. They were not. There are four women on this list that are head basketball coaches. And what it's done for me is that, I mean, I'm getting an education as we go as to how these HBCUs are approaching, whatever they determine as success, right? What is success? You have winning basketball games, winning championships, that sort of thing. And then in this day and age, there's also the notoriety, the ability to raise funds, the ability to excite donors, to bring people that otherwise probably wouldn't pay attention to what's going on in HBCUs, using these athletes, these former athletes, to bring more attention to it. And as far as jumping the gun, I don't believe that this is, I mean, let's not even get started on what's currently happening in the NFL, okay? Let's not even start with the coaches that are currently in head coach positions in the NFL that have no clue what it means to be a head coach, okay? But they're being given these opportunities, right? And for me, there is clearly an attempt by HBCU to bring these athletes. Some of them are alums, but the whole point is this: can you lead men and women into the field of battle? Right? Can you get people to do things they probably don't even think they could do? And I feel like when you talk about former professional basketball, football players, they most definitely know what that means. Okay? They most definitely know what leadership is. All right? And as far as talent, the talent acquisition side of it, the bigger the name, the more athletes that are going to come to you. Okay, the more athletes that are going to gravitate to you. I believe that this is a good thing in the HBCU world, and I encourage it. I want to see where this goes, because many others prior to these folks have tried, and I think it's time. I welcome it. I want to see where this goes.
I will let you run anchor because I know you're going to be absolutely fabulous in what you have to say. So, no, I really believe that. I do. I'm not trying to be funny here, but let me just say this. Okay, the whole question of jumping to place in line, like, how do you jump a place in line when it's not your line? Like, you have to have the ability to be in the line, right? So if I'm the athletic director at Bethune-Cookman College, I decide who's in the line. And so if Ed Reed was the person I wanted on my line, the first person that got there, then that's my choice. It's an absolutely brilliant hire. Ed Reed has very strong ties to the Miami area. Yeah. Very strong. And so
no doubt on that.
There's going to be a lot of Miami athletes show up on that campus now. Mm-hmm. The every AD is charged with having a good football coach, a good football program, because we all know that's where the money comes from. Again, brilliant hire because the alumni are going to get behind Ed Reed. the alumni are going to get behind the fact that Bethune-Cookman College got a chance to be relevant in football again. So if you look at what Reggie Theus did here, and so now not Reggie Theus, an NBA star, walks into the room with Ed Reed, the NFL star, and they're talking to boosters and donors about what they need to be successful in football, right? We saw what just happened at Jackson State. And Clyde, you know, because you worked in the HBC world, it's a very proud crowd, right? So they're like, well, if they can do it, why can't we? So this is clearly an attempt for them to recreate or outdo what happened at Jackson State. And I just don't understand the whole thing of jumping somebody in line, because I've said this to many of people. What makes you think you belong in a line is not yours to determine that. Okay, that line is determined by the person that's doing the hiring. And if those people, that man said, these are my 4 people and this is my number 1 guy, that's his line. So I don't get the whole skipping over people. It's not anybody's place to judge that but Reggie Theus.
Okay. You guys know that I love you all, and I actually respect the things that you think and say, and that's why I show up and do this show with y'all, right? Like, y'all know that. I hate this entire conversation. I really, really do. It annoys me to no end. And I like, y'all got me literally sitting here taking notes on the things y'all just said, because I never do that. Like, I never do that. I'm so bothered by this entire conversation, not just from y'all, just in the ether. Okay. First of all, I love Ed Reed. I think he's the greatest safety to ever play in the NFL. I love him. Lifelong fan. Love him. This isn't about Ed Reed. It's about what the hire of Ed Reed and Deion Sanders and Eddie George, it's about what these hires represent. And from where I sit, it's just an academically dishonest conversation. You talked about moving the goalposts. Lamar did. The goalposts get moved in professional coaching world all the time. All the time. And people move their said goalposts as an excuse to do whatever the hell they want to do. So to Lucius's point, of course, Reggie Theus is in a position to hire who the hell he wants. He could hire Chu for the job if he wanted to, and he could stand up and be like, hey, my school, my job, that's what I want. Don't care that she's not a football coach. Don't care that she's never worked in the industry. Don't care that I didn't know her name yesterday. That's who I want. Of course he has that power. But what does that do to the industry of professional coaches? That's my problem. The people who are out there rah-rahing these type of hires, I've asked almost all of them the same question. I'll ask it to y'all in a different way. We all know as a fundamental fact that just because you were great at playing a sport does not mean that you can coach it. We know some former athletes that are excellent coaches. We know some former athletes that are abominations as coaches. Why does your Hall of Fame status, your GOAT status at a position, your knowledge as a player make you fit to sit in the head coach chair? I think Ed Reed is brilliant. Bill Belichick is on camera saying he's the smartest defensive player he's ever coached against.
Thanks.
So I know Ed Reed knows football. What I also know is that Ed Reed has done nothing in his professional career to earn sitting in that chair. I want Ed Reed in coaching. I love the fact that Ed Reed and others like him want to give back to the sport and pass their knowledge on to future generations. But why does that mean they get to borrow the term of the question, jump the line and take opportunities away from well-qualified, and in this case, Black coaches who have been dying and clawing and scratching to be sitting in one of these seats? These seats are rare. They are hard to come by. And every time one of these NFL Hall of Famers take a spot just to hold on to get to the next spot, as Prime has done, and they all will do, they are setting the careers of others back years by doing this. Now, to flip it to track, by this rationale, this May and June, when the coaching carousel and track and field comes up, hypothetically, Brianna Rollins should be the next director of track and field or head coach at a job somewhere. She's got an Olympic gold medal. She got world championship gold medal. She was an NCAA champion and record holder. She's fit to be a head coach, I guess. Or Aries Merritt, who just got hired into the NCAA. He shouldn't be a lower tier assistant in the Ivy League. No, he should be in the chair. Why?
Yeah, I'd like to. Can we answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely,
right
absolutely.
Okay. So please let me. Please, I'm going to be brief. I'm not going to go around the block here. So, in order, first of all, it doesn't do anything to the industry. Okay, you talk about is setting people's careers back. It's one job. So who are all these people? It's maybe one person, right? Maybe one person. We'll start there. And the other thing is, this is like, we talk about Ed Reed's brilliance. Ed Reed has been with the Miami Hurricanes for 2 years, learning his craft
as a consultant.
Okay, exactly, but that's why people go be consultants, so they can learn what they need to do, right? So like, it's not like Ed Reed was someplace playing golf. Ed Reed has been around a Division I Power 5 institution for 2 years, learning what needs to be done. Okay, and then the other thing is this: you ask why. It's simple. Why? It's strictly financial. That's the biggest reason why.
Thank you.
That's the biggest reason why. But my thing is this. Okay, so you asking Reggie Theus to go pluck somebody who's an assistant coach at Alabama State or Alcorn State who doesn't have a big name, and they come in there and they can't raise the funds and they can't get people in the seats. When that person gets fired, now they're going to want Reggie Theus' head. So it's also a CYA move.
Yeah. So,
right? Because the AD, your number one job is to
raise money.
Raise money and keep the fan base happy. The fan base of BCC is ecstatic right now.
I appreciate you said that. I really do. Go ahead, huh?
Okay.
It's the truth. That's why I've said it. Right. Yeah.
So this is what I'm gonna say.
Very transparent.
Two really short things. One of all of our dearest of friends fits in this category. David Oliver hadn't coached anybody to do anything. He got a head coaching job at an HBCU that he went to, and he is dominating lives.
It was his alma mater.
I don't care where it is, but yes, it is. It was his alma mater. The point is, that doesn't mean that's the rule either, right? We all would agree with that. That doesn't mean if you take somebody who was world class in the whatever event and then make them the head coach at their alma mater, that they're going to be as successful as Dio, right? It doesn't mean that. But it was a brilliant hire on their part because it raises money, raises awareness, keeps the fan base happy, right? But my second part is, see, I'm gonna get trumped by the child now. But my second part is something. It's funny. This sometimes, God puts things in your lap that you don't know you're supposed to pick up, but you're paying attention enough to like, hey, that might be important later. So I picked this up earlier today, and it's definitely important now. Who's the highest paid actor in Hollywood? Anybody know?
No.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
That makes sense.
He's never taken an acting class in his life.
Yeah.
You know who the second highest paid actor is? Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart.
Well, he is. Didn't he go to
also hasn't taken an acting class, right?
I thought he did.
So by the purest of definitions, right? Like all those thespians who've gone to school, who've grinded it out, who have personal coaches, right? And are trying to do acting by the numbers, right? They've been passed over by two dudes with money and opportunity And now what? That hasn't hurt the industry. It hasn't even affected the industry. At the end of the day, it's a one-off, right? Because that's not the answer either. The point I think that's being made here is like there isn't a line.
Right. There's no line.
There just isn't a line.
I'm happy to accept that there isn't a line. It's just an easy way to describe the situation. And I actually love the movie example because, yeah, The Rock's movies make money. And Kevin Hart's movies might make money.
They make a lot of money.
I guess they do. But you don't go to see a quality product when you go to watch their movies. You might go to be entertained.
Here's
You know
where
what I mean?
I'll
You might go to be entertained.
That's a matter
here's
of
where
preference.
I
So there's
will
people out there
I
that
will
think
differ with
their movies
you.
are very quality. This is a matter of preference.
Right.
So here's
Matter of
where I
taste.
will differ with you, Clyde, and this is the part that, you know, I don't think is truly appreciated. Okay. As a head coach of a football program, you are as good as what?
Your assistant coaches.
You're
Go ahead.
as
You're
good as
good as your
staff,
assistants.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just call it what it is. You have a figurehead. You have a figurehead that's going to go out, shake hands, kiss babies, meet with the alumni, do all the dirty work in terms of the political stuff. But for a winning program, you have to have the best assistant coaches you can possibly have. Right?
Please, can I pause you right there, please? Because I love it. I love it so much. I hate this, but I love y'all. I love you more. Listen to me. You see what the governor just did there in his so perfectly eloquent way. He just in that speech right there just changed the standards for these guys, because Nick Saban has to be an excellent coach. Tom Izzo has to be an excellent coach. Lincoln Riley has to be an excellent coach, but not these guys. No.
Nick Saban has the greatest staff.
Exactly. Nick's always
He has
had an
the
incredible
most
staff.
coaches.
Yeah, but he is never.
literally
But the narrative has
created-
never been. It doesn't matter if Nick Saban can coach as long as his assistants are awesome.
This man has NFL coaches as
Yes.
quality control on his staff.
Yes, but sir, you understand what I'm
Okay.
saying. But you
But see,
understand what I'm
but
saying.
Clyde, I think you're changing what he was saying. Like, he's not saying that these guys, you know, are different than anybody else. He's just saying, and I think where he might have been going is the fact that if he hires good assistants, he'll be successful.
He'll be successful.
That's where he was going.
I mean,
And look,
it's-
and I will say this as somebody that's been fairly successful at what I do. The better my assistants are, the better we are.
We all agree with that. There's no
And
doubt of that.
And so
For the record,
if Ed Reed goes out and gets quote unquote his homies to come work for him,
He'd be all right.
look, there's going to be a
mean-
storm in Daytona every year. It's gonna be a-
Absolutely.
I mean, let's be clear. Look,
right.
he could very easily have Trent Dilfer be his quarterback coach.
No. Trent Dilfer is running the UAB program now, which I also hate. I don't like that one either.
Oh,
So
we
I
gonna pray
don't
for
want
you,
this to
dog.
be. I don't want this to be about
I'm gonna
HBCUs.
pray for you, man.
I don't want this to be about HBCUs.
You have to understand something, man. Like, you know, this is just the American way. It's nothing to do about
It's
just
the
like,
new
okay,
American way.
No,
It's the new
old
American way.
Because look, I go back to Pat Summerall, who was a fantastic announcer, right? He was a New York Giants kicker, if I'm not mistaken. Lamar, right? He didn't take any broadcasting courses. He just got off the football field and went to the broadcast booth. Tony Romo is a much better announcer than he was a quarterback.
Which is
Yeah.
so
$7
painful.
million per year, Tony Romo.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, this is what happens in athletics. It happens all the time.
But Sir Lucius,
Yeah.
the announcement, like, that's an entertainment business. And listen, I'm cool with. I literally
And
said this to
so
somebody.
is the
I
head
was gonna say,
football
so
coach.
is college football.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that's what I said by it's the new thing. If we have now, in my opinion, devolved into this cesspool of entertainment culture only, where the bottom where the bottom line,
Cesspool?
cesspool of entertainment, absolutely, where the bottom line and the dollars made are all that matters anymore, then hey, I'm here for it.
Okay, a second. That's
I'm
been
here
going
for
on
it.
since before you were
Programs will
born.
not survive.
Wait a minute.
If they
I'm
don't-
here for it. I'm
they
here
will
for it.
That's been
survive.
going on since before you were born, sir.
Oh, okay, but I think we can all agree it's on hyperdrive now.
We'll go
Yes.
back to the pandemic when we had this discussion about whether they're going to play football and basketball.
Mhm.
America cannot survive without athletics.
Absolutely.
The American society, it would just be out of control if you took athletics away.
I don't think any of us disagree with that. All I'm saying is
So what I'm saying is, so when you get into these things, and I understand. Look, we know you're the champion of the little guy. You always have been, and we appreciate that. We love that about you. But there's just some things they're inevitable.
Mhm.
This is going to happen. I mean, like it happens in our sport all the time.
and it shouldn't. And that's the point.
But it's going to happen as long as it's based on success, as long as it's based on money. The number of track and field athletes every year who decide I'm done being a track and field athlete, I'm going to be a coach now, happens every year. And there's a plethora of them. I don't see anybody lining up at the convention going, hey, you can't come in here.
Right. But the difference, Lamar threw out.
So are you telling me Aries shouldn't have been hired at Brown then, right?
No, that's exactly the opposite of what I'm going to tell you. Lamar threw out the very, very, very specific and great example of our friend David Oliver, who's doing a phenomenal job at Howard.
Right.
Howard would have never hired David Oliver if he wasn't an alumni, and David Oliver wouldn't have taken that job if it wasn't at Howard. So David is the one-off. David is the one-off. He said it to us. David is the one-off.
But that doesn't matter. They hired him and it's working.
Yes, that's great. And bravo to him. We all love that. I love the Alan Johnson model. The GOAT in hurdles, a man who could have snapped his fingers and probably got any job he wanted to. But no, he said he wanted to coach, and he came in at a low level and grinded his way up. And now he's in a chair that he has earned and probably going to crush it. I love that model. I love that Aries took a job at Brown.
He couldn't have snapped his fingers and got any job he wanted.
No.
But okay, but Ed Reed can.
Yes.
And that's not okay.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. It's football.
Mm-hmm.
It's money.
That's my point, sir. So if I am defining. I look at my professional coaching colleagues in the football world, because I know these guys. I talk to these guys. Like, I look at them the same way I look at. Thank you, baby. I look at them the same way I look at my colleagues in the track and field world. I respect the work. I respect the grind. I respect the hustle. We are living in a society right now where everything is hype-based, social media driven. Win the press conference. It's not about, did you earn your plate, which I find hilarious, because football culture, the playing of the game, is all about you get what you earn. It's all about you have to earn our respect. You can't just walk in the door and be the guy. No, we don't respect that in this locker room. You have to build it up.
So do you think
But they don't have to build up to get these jobs.
That Ed Reed got the job strictly because he was Ed Reed? You don't really believe
Ed Reed is a celebrity hire, just like Deion Sanders was, just like Eddie George was.
But exactly.
And Trent Dilfer.
Eddie George has been pretty successful, right? He's done okay. Deion was ultra successful, right? And my thing is this, is that Deion had to sit down with the JSU people and show them that he had a plan. If you just look at the details of his contract, he had a plan. And I promise you, Ed Reed went in there and showed them that he could do this. I don't think that Reggie Theus reached out to him and said, hey, come here and be my football coach. I'm pretty sure Ed reached out to him and was like, hey, I can do this, and this is how we're going to get it done. There had to be a plan in place.
Well, whoever reached out to who is largely irrelevant to me. I mean, that doesn't matter.
Well, see, but it's not irrelevant because it was just strictly about his celebrity status. Reggie Theus would have not talked to anybody else.
Hey, like I said, at the end of the day, these chairs in our sport and in their sport are rare and hard to come by. And the fact of the matter is, when these hires get done, there are career people who are then not getting those jobs. And the crazy thing about the HBCU piece specifically is forever. the HBCU schools were the one place where Black men could grind, get a job, and maybe catapult themselves up and out. Now those things are being taken over by
how many
stars.
HBCUs are there in this country?
Not many. That's the point.
How many?
I don't know. Not many. 50
HBCUs? No, it's like 130 something.
that have football.
Okay, so regardless, but there's three of these guys with celebrity status that you complained about.
But like you said, it according to some of y'all and the narrative that's out there, Dion has changed this game, and it's just going to see more and more and more.
No. I said it in our group chat. This is not a pandemic. It's not an epidemic. It's not. Right? There's three people. So let's just pretend that there's 60 HBCUs that play football. 3 coaches is a very you act as if this is like going to stagnate the growth of HBCU football and the ability of people to get better jobs. It's one job.
I mean, not just that, their hires have raised the salaries of the average HBCU
other
football
jobs
coach
out there that can be obtained. There's other jobs out there they can go do a good job, because here's my thing, right? Like so I get an opening and somebody calls me. The first thing I want to know is, like, what are you doing where you are? What have you done that makes you want to jump up on my radar and say, I got to have this guy, right? So when you're talking about being a football coach, you have to know the rules. You have to understand how the game is played. And if you don't have star power of some kind, you're not getting the job. Whether you're a celebrity NFL player, or you have to have something that makes the people go, yes, this is our guy.
I'm gonna, and I don't mean to pick on you, but you are considered, and I think rightfully so, a quote unquote kingmaker in our sport of coaching professionalism. Oh, don't act like you haven't heard that before.
That's okay. So I've heard it, but I have not heard it from people that think it's true. But go ahead.
So
kingmaker. I'm not a king myself.
I'm gonna ask, and please let the names here be not necessarily the issue, because it's the status more than anything. But I'll throw 2 names at you. You spent a really long time coaching Eddie Lovett, and you spent absolutely no time coaching Brianna Rollins. If either one of those 2 people spent the next 2 seasons with you as a quote consultant, when the coaching carousel comes around, are you would you recommend those people above all the rest that you know to be head coaches?
If they stuck to my hip and learned everything they needed to learn, yeah.
All right. Well,
and let's be clear. An HBCU football coaching job is very different than a Power 5 football job.
Yes, it is.
Right. So the question you asked, I'm going to say this: if you asked him, would they be candidates he would suggest to an HBCU as a head track coach? I bet the answer is a much stronger yes than the next head coach at A&M.
Yeah.
And sir, would you say candidly that that's because it's considered to be a lower standard?
It's not even a lower standard. It's a different standard.
Why are we changing the narrative? This is
listen.
He went right where I was hoping he would go with that.
But here's the thing. But you don't want me there, because I trust me, I'm a problem there. All I'm saying to you is this: you use the term on a regular basis. It's HBCU world.
Yes,
because it ain't the same place as the rest of these places. So Ed, listen, if you had an issue with Ed Reed jumping the line because he became the head coach at Miami,
right?
I'd
have the same issue regardless.
You would have that issue, but the thing is, I might actually be willing to listen a bit more to some of your statements, right? But I'm just telling you, for somebody who was a Power 5 athlete, who was an NFL All-Pro, and who doesn't need to work another day in his life to decide to take a job at the HBCU, sir, 5 years ago, that's not even a thought.
Yeah.
5 years ago, that's not even a thought.
Bethune-Cookman is now on the tips of tongues of thousands of kids now.
There are kids
Yep.
in Miami that now would
Okay.
go to Bethune-Cookman that would never have
Never
considered it before.
consider it.
100% true. Like I said, hype sells.
You know,
Okay.
so that's
We
the part.
need to move on because
Yes.
this tail is dragging this dog, and this dog is chasing this tail
And I just want to say one final thing, but hype sells at all levels,
Mhm.
at
Mhm.
all levels.
Mhm.
and hype is what leads to success.
No.
Trust me.
Oh,
It does.
Winning the press conference is a big deal
Exactly.
to
And
athletic
that's part of the hype.
directors.
Yeah, absolutely.
that
Huge.
I agree with 100%.
Winning the press conference is a big deal.
See, when I say
in the
hype
athletic
leads to
directors.
success, you have to have something to hype up, right? You have to have a product to sell. There's a product to sell at Bethune-Cookman right now. There was a product to sell at Jackson State. There's a product to sell wherever Eddie is, right? So like you have to have something to hype up. If you don't have something to hype,
Like
Radio
the landscape has changed tremendously, right? Like, I mean, Coach K is the best college basketball coach, but statistically anyway, to ever even think about manning the sidelines. In today's world, he would never have gotten the Duke job.
Can I end this on a positive note?
please do.
Can I give shout outs to Ed Reed? I have not
Please do.
I have not seen, and I hope this to continue to be the case. I respect the fact that I have not seen one quote or statement or tweet or whatever from Ed Reed claiming the BS that Dion was claiming about his reason to be. I'm being serious. I really mean that.
But that's not.
I really mean that.
But you can't call what he
You
was
can't-
quote
you
unquote
can't
claiming
compliment Ed
BS.
and
That's
then
what he
bash
believed.
primetime.
That was the way he was going to do things. And not just that. One dude is literally the silent assassin. The other dude's nickname is Primetime. Like they're two different people.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. I
And
appreciate
we talked
what
about this.
Ed
in
Reed
Denver.
is doing.
That's who he is. Like Dion has been telling people since he was a child how great he is.
Mhm.
They had a
And
rap song that said,
fortunately,
"It must be the money."
He's yet to be wrong.
I wasn't talking about the bragging part, but that's okay.
Yet to be wrong.
Chew.
All right. So I like that was fun. That was entertaining.
I'm glad you
Of the
think so.
of the 83 that I could actually get through before you guys wanted to or queued me back in, 29 schools of 83 that I got to did not have football for the HBCU system. I didn't get through all 107.
So
So
there's over 50. There's over 50 that have it, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
Just-
probably end up being around 75.
So statistically stated, moving on to those who are going to be playing under these set football coaches, which do we think are and will affect the student athlete experience the most, the portal or the NIL details?
I'll go.
I think it's the portal, and I don't really think it's close. Only so many people have NIL situations. The NIL situation is a first world rich folk problem right now, and it's probably going to stay that way with whoever's playing that game seriously. The portal affects every level at everything, and it bleeds all the way down to a significant new reality of the high school existence. So when you ask the question, which of the two is going to affect the student athlete experience in more profoundly, it's obviously the portal. It's been doing it since its arrival, and it's only going to get, I don't like the term worse, because personally I don't have a problem with the portal, but it's only going to get more impactful and bigger. And like I said, the high school student athlete is being under recruited because of the portal. And just like our last topic, the microwave popcorn hype culture of building a team has been exacerbated by the portal. There are certain schools that have great legacies and a history of success, like the University of Florida track and field, who were good before the portal, have leaned into the portal, and will continue to be good long after the portal, right? But there's others that have found a way to make instant impact and prop themselves up on what seems to be a house of cards, and ultimately will flounder. It's the portal is everything. It affects all things. Its tentacles are everywhere.
Very well said. I also feel that for the top tier programs, they're now entering what basketball was, well, what basketball is, but what basketball has been doing for the last 20 years, the whole one and done, mentality, where you go after the top prospects in the country and you pretty much have them for 1 year, right? And those, and you're trying to figure out how to get those complete strangers to gel and put together a run at the Final Four. And then the next year, rinse and repeat. Next year, rinse and repeat. You add the portal into this now? And now, that kid that was supposed to be going to the league and had a horrible first season and decides, you know what, this isn't working for me. That kid now gets a second chance to go somewhere else and is added to another program with a bunch of other kids, right? And now, again, you're trying to do the same thing over and over and over again. Now, in track, of course, it's a bit more difficult because you're dealing with years where you have X amount of scholarships that are opening up, and then how many you're going to bring in, how you're going to do that. I mean, it is much more complicated, in my opinion, from a track perspective, because, you're talking about really the top 5, maybe 6 schools that are able to bring in kids that are that impactful, that it can be the difference between winning a championship or not, right? So definitely the portal for me. NIL is something that I think it's on a more personal basis. I think it depends on how enterprising that young man or young woman is. And from my understanding, and again, I don't have first world problems, but from my understanding,
I feel like that should be your new name on the show.
Actually,
His head went like this.
actually, that is brilliant.
Wow.
from my
In the
I'm
new
taking
year,
shots
Sir
on the
Lucius.
governor. What
In
is
the new
going
year,
on?
Sir Lucius henceforth shall be named Sir First World Problem.
Yes.
FWP.
I was
baby.
just
Keep that
going
in
to say
mind.
that.
No, but what I'm saying is this, at the level that we're at, you might have 1 or 2 or 3 kids that see an opportunity. They come from a small town. There's a lot of support, that sort of thing. And I'll see it pop up here and there. But on the level that, that can completely change a program, no, it's not happening at my level. It's happening at the Florida level, at the Texas level, at the Oregon level. And, but I don't see that derailing the progress of a program. I think it only accentuates, because now you're using that to build on what you already have.
Yeah. I think also it's the portal. I think the problem with the NIL effect is because of the great inequities of money that across the board that the governor just eloquently stabbed me in the back with. But so I think that the big thing for me is
I put a poster on your back with a piece of tape on it. That's all.
Yeah, and then Chu changed my name.
I didn't
noticed that.
try to hurt you or anything. I just kind of came up behind you and just put it right there.
Yeah, right. But I think that the governor's right. But see, I want to see where this goes, because I think that what you're going to see is, because people are jumping in a portal and it's not working well for them, I think eventually it's going to quiet down a little bit. I think it will. I think you'll still see the graduate transfers more, but I think that you'll see a little bit less of the undergraduate transfers. And at least I believe that to be true. But the NIL, I don't think it just can't have a widespread thing, because it's just everybody's pockets aren't as deep as some others. I'll just leave it at that. First world problems are not.
Sir, yeah. Sir, EP, before you jump in there,
I
no, before you jump in there, first world problems. I got to ask you, why do you think it's going to slow down? Is that because of the new rule where you have to own the mess you may get, or why? I mean, why would it slow down?
I just think that, okay, I think the coaches and programs are going to start trying to do a better job of keeping their better athletes, right? I think, okay, let's put it like this. In the first world issue, the first world people will be fine. Like those people, the problem you have is the UTSAs of the world, and the others, hey, even you, right?
The underlings.
I'm here for the portal. Exactly,
right. So, but I'm saying, but like the problem is that you guys have is as soon as there's somebody that runs fast, there's somebody from the first world going, hey, I can get you a little NIL money.
This is true.
So I think it won't have as big of an effect on the upper level. Like the rich will get richer, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, that is very first worldly stated, and also 100% true. I'm going to say this. I do believe the answer is the portal, but I think there's a different side to the NIL that maybe because of what I do, I see that you guys don't see as often. The student athlete experience is being vastly affected by NILs and the pursuit therein, right? We understand how the money is just easily allocated at the football and basketball and even baseball level for NIL deals, right? But there are a great number of student athletes on college campuses trying to build their brand so they can get their followers up, so they can get NIL deals independent of their sports status. And I think that is negatively affecting their thought process about their athletic careers. I don't know that it's going to ever have as vast an effect as the portal, because portal's literally changing what I would not want to be right now is a really good high school track and field or baseball or football athlete.
Mm-hmm.
The elite ones, it doesn't matter, right? But I wouldn't want to be a really good one, because if you're a really good one, you're not going where you used to be able to go, because that place is going to take a portal transfer, a bounce back from a level that's at their level or above, because they'll take a kid that's a bounce back. UTSA will take a bounce back from Michigan before they'll take a high level high school kid that they can get. That's just the facts.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is this, I see this. Student athletes they have their eyes off of their athletic prize because they have their eyes on building their brand to get their NIL game up, so to speak. And when it's relatively fruitless or far more difficult than they thought it was, there becomes an even greater inferiority complex. Right? I mean, there already exists, like if you're not a football player, not a basketball player, if you allow that to creep into your mindset, you can feel like lesser than, like, oh, the school don't really care about us, they just care about football and basketball. But what I'm telling you is, and I deal with a lot of these kids, and that NIL gets brought up in almost every conversation I have with young kids and their parents, is there is a belief that there's an NIL deal out there available for every student athlete, and it's just not true.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like they believe that, yeah, the football and basketball kids get given ones by the school, right? So they don't have to go pursue theirs, but because they see all of these other people who are TikTok and Instagram famous, they do believe that if they build their followers and become Instagram famous, that the NIL deals will come rolling. You have no idea how many bargain basement executive producers that I know, like of their own videos, who spend copious amounts of time editing their own clips and videos because they got to get there. They got to get it out there because that's what the people want and that's what their followers want to see. And I chuckle. I'm like, ain't nobody following you. They're entertained by you from one thumb swipe to the next, right? And at the end of the day, I will say this. I definitely believe that both of those things are reshaping the entire landscape of recruitment and of the student athlete experience. And I unfortunately think that it is shrinking the number of student athletes that are really there to pursue at their highest level their sport.
I like it.
All right. Yeah. And there wasn't a wrong answer. And I think it depends on where we sit as to how much each plays into that ultimate ending answer. So, hard left on this one. Would you rather, Clyde?
Really?
This be your turn. So, well,
Dude,
we got a little out of order.
every single time you're like, really?
No, I pay no attention to it. I have no. You couldn't pay me to tell you the order or nothing. Not at all.
All right.
But I'm ready because I'm always ready. I stay ready.
Stay ready. You have to get ready.
Sugar free.
Would you rather be? Sorry.
That's right. That was a very West Coast joke.
Oh my God, that was so Bay Area. I love it though.
Would you rather be Kevin from Home Alone or Buddy the Elf?
Oh man.
That is a tremendous question.
It may be a tremendous question, but here's the thing: I have no idea who Buddy the Elf is.
Come on, Clyde.
From Elf?
And from the back rooms, I hear, "Oh my God,
Oh my
Miss
God,
Tiana." So I clearly have said something wrong.
you have
So I'm
embarrassed
gonna
your
go
family.
with Kevin from Home Alone since I don't know who Buddy is.
Oh my.
Oh my
goodness.
God.
You've never
Dude,
seen Elf?
You've never seen Elf.
Oh, is that his
Yeah,
name in the
Buddy.
His
movie?
name
Yeah.
is Buddy. Yes.
Okay, well,
I must
then I
confess,
definitely
I don't know who that
choose-
is either.
yes.
Oh my
Lucius didn't
gosh.
know. I'm in the
Oh,
first world. I had the right answer.
Oh my God.
Their FWP
Yes.
have to watch.
You have
Elf.
to watch Elf.
Okay.
Tiana says the Elf is in her top 5
In
Christmas
the
movies of all time.
pantheon of
Oh, it definitely
greatest-
is.
I'm sure it's funny. I love Will Ferrell.
Oh my
Okay.
Never really been into it.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm
It's
still choosing
hilarious.
Kevin
Never
though.
seen it.
Still choosing Kevin.
Kevin. Okay. Would you rather have sparkling apple cider as a toast at home or out on the town?
Oh, out on the town because I love pissing people off with the fact that I don't drink.
That's why it was sparkling apple cider.
My non-alcoholic, yeah, pour me that. Love the faces I get on that.
In
All right.
23, can we change his name to Papa Petty?
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
Sir, you have experienced this.
I absolutely have. Listen, I didn't say anything you said wasn't true.
All right. Would you rather have in public have Kai screaming profanity or running around naked?
He will most absolutely end up doing both,
I mean,
unfortunately.
yes.
Neither one would bother me at all. I feel like him screaming profanity will happen more often since he is being raised in this house. So I'm gonna go with that.
Would you rather, in the game of Jeopardy, would you rather play Tom Brady for 1,000 or politics for 2,000?
Oh, I guarantee I get the Brady answer right. But I'm, I in the spirit of Jeopardy, you got to go for the big dollars to win the game. So I'm 2,000.
Love it. Would you rather eat a blueberry muffin or a poppy seed muffin?
I don't really like either one.
What?
If you're a distance runner, if you eat enough poppy seed muffins, you will test positive.
That's right.
Touche. So to that point, I'll take the blueberries. I want no PED bus on my name, none.
Wait. Pen thought after. Last one, ending it on Kai because you had him in your lap. Would you rather take Kai to see Elmo or Coco Melon?
Elmo.
Mom says Elmo. I don't know what Coco Melon is either.
Oh my God.
I love that. I could hear it. Everybody
Oh
heard
my
that.
God, that was
Love it.
awesome. You just hear, because you can't see her, you just hear from nowhere,
Elmo.
Elmo.
What the hell is a cocoa melon?
Coco Melon's a show.
She said, okay, this must be bad because she said, don't worry about it. It's not happening.
Oh, there
That's
you go.
hilarious. Oh, that was the best. Gentlemen, Tiles, it is for you.
I'm
I'm waiting for a first world question.
Hey, I'm sure he could come up with some good ones.
All right, in the spirit of Christmas. Okay.
Yeah.
What would be the ultimate Christmas day for Clyde?
I just want to be in a position to take T and Kai to very warm weather next Christmas.
Okay.
No offense to, I mean, Cali's great, but 50s, and no offense to the family, love them, appreciate them, but nah, I just want to be elsewhere next Christmas with the peoples.
Cayman Islands would suffice?
Oh, we could definitely do the Caymans.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's on an accepted travel
Can
list.
we do a live show during the Christmas holiday from the Caymans?
I'm on it.
You're talking to the wrong people.
Sir Lucius?
There are people that see, look.
Would you make the trip?
Absolutely.
Hey, it sounds like a plan to me.
But would Miss Angela let you take the trip?
We are
See, this is
As long
there.
as she's coming. As long as she's coming. I'm not going by myself. So
My new slogan is K-Man 23.
We can make it
let me
happen.
see. See, this is not really a would you rather. This
That's
is kind
okay.
of more of
That's okay.
Would you rather be like a kind of like a conference power, right, for an extended period of time, or become a Nationals middle of the pack team right away?
Nationals, no doubt. Not
Okay.
even a question.
Okay.
If I am
Became a would you rather. That's it.
if I am relevant nationally as a team, I anticipate that we will be able to handle our conference.
Okay, that's true.
I'm gonna ask a petty ass question.
Surprise.
I mean, it's because of who I'm asking, right? If you could have one of these two superpowers, which would you choose? Would you rather be the pettiest human in any scenario that you are placed in, or the most intelligent human in any scenario that you're placed in? So any room you walk into, you're either the smartest guy in the room, literally, or the perfectly pettiest guy in the room.
Sir, in order for those to be real, they have to exist together, do they not?
Nope, not at all.
Shit, tell me.
You can piss off a lot of people.
You can be
by
petty
being
and not
the
brilliant. I've
smartest
seen
person
that.
in the room.
Yes,
Absolutely. So
Yes.
I would take so to stay within the bounds of your question, I would definitely take being the most intelligent person in the room, because if you are, you can accomplish all things petty.
Absolutely.
There's no limit to the petty ceiling if you
No.
are the smartest person in the room.
Just maybe not everybody would pick up on it.
And you know
that's
what?
the point.
And you know what, Chu? Those moments are sometimes the greatest.
Mhm.
If you're in a room with 10 people and you say something unbelievably petty and only one or two other people get it, there's nothing funnier than that.
that is the comedian Dennis Miller.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to be incredibly intelligent to get him.
All right. Well, rounding out the evening with some heartbeat props. I'm jumping in first. I'm cutting. I just found out this evening that
Keeping
a
it
former I am. I just found out this evening that a former athlete is pregnant with number 2 and having a little girl. So I'm super excited for her. I won't spill the beans with the name yet, just in case, but I'm super excited, and I'm excited for you, and I can't wait to spoil another baby. Next.
I am going to give my heartbeat props to my grandchildren who, this was a difficult Christmas for me, my first one without my mom, but my grandkids came by and them along with Angela and my two children, hey, they made my day a lot better and a lot easier to handle. So thank them for spreading joy to me on Christmas Day. So those are my heartbeat props to my family.
Aw.
I'll jump in because I'm sure there are better ones coming. At this time of year, with all these other things going on, some things get lost in the sauce and whatnot. My very odd heartbeat props tonight go out to the January 6th committee, who has released the full transcript of their investigation, every detail. I highly suggest you read it. It is riveting. And if you choose not to read it, that's okay. But then don't talk like you know what happened. It's there. Facts matter. Read it. It's awesome.
Heartbeat props to my family. As I said, this time of year can be particularly stressful.
The girls look beautiful. That's all that matters.
Absolutely. And every single year around this time, you can get caught up in all the hoopla and everything, but at the end of the day, we're a unit, and we move together, and we do things together, and we enjoy each other's company. Thankfully, they're back in school next week.
Right.
But yeah, heartbeat props to Janae, Kai, and Jackie. Love you guys.
My heartbeat props go out to somebody that I'm not actually 100% sure that he watches the show. I'm sure if I tell him, then he will, if he hasn't already been told. But my heartbeat props actually go out to Brian Willis. Brian Willis is the strength and conditioning gentleman who works with all of the decathletes that we work with, and now all of my baseball players who come here to train in the off season. And to a person, they all sing his praises, and he doesn't just get it, he gets them. And when somebody says to you, Coach, I'm sorry, we can't lift the day before Christmas because I'm going out of town, but I'll be back for Monday's lift, you just have to love him. And on his own dime, he and his wife drove across the country and went to world championships just to see Lyndon compete, because he felt like seeing him compete on that stage would better help him put together programming that could help enhance his abilities. He's that kind of person. And he does it thanklessly and seamlessly, and very much behind the scenes, all on purpose. Like, I'd love to publicize him, but half the time he's like, no, I'm good, Coach. So my heartbeat props go out to Brian Willis from the Lab, Fort Worth. Look it up.
Holler. Well, like we have done a number of episodes before, we have wrapped up another great one. That was a fun one. We haven't had that fun of one in a while. Lots of laughter, lots of good stuff brought up. So
Last show was 22.
I know. Happy New Year to everyone. I'm
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So,
On 23, folks.
yeah, holy crap. How are we 23?
Hey man 23.
Oh, wait, I forgot, because I'm gonna trademark this. Happy 20 Jordan.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Clyde.
Boom.
Well, with that said, we'll let him ride this little episode out and say, peace out, Girl Scouts. Have a good one. Be safe. See you next week. Bye, everyone.
See you next year.
When the lights come on, the road just get to running. When the lights come on, opponents mess the plumbing. Heard you like it warm, hot, knife the butter. Truth hit 'em hard, knock 'em off that rebuttal. Tsunami, tidal wave to your puddle. Tough love, punch you in the arms, little brothers. Athletics LLC, there's no others. Track and field's pacing with pill to go further. Hey, Wile E. Coyote, it's road runners. Feels like you know us, you've been with us the whole summer. If not for this quarantine, these four corners wouldn't be here, but we here, so start learning. You gotta earn your stripes, gotta get your scars. Show you how to fight, but show us who you are. You lack experience, but still you wanna talk. And who is actually talking to? Your circle's kinda small. Heads prevail when the backbone's strong. Gotta keep it coming, no, it won't last long. Pass and fail, then sell the sad song. And if you don't check yourself, then that's wrong. Just trying to give you the real that you asked for. So why you keep cutting us off to ask more? We put it in slow-mo, but you fast forward. Athletics LLC, the task force.